Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest and welcome to another technical update video. Now, before I get into looking at some charts, I will just mention that I am planning on recording a video just after this one, and that video will be on the 2024 stock pick results, how you as a collective unit performed during 2024. You chose some companies, and also how I performed in 2024 for my stock picks. Now, just a little, I suppose, preview of how we performed, you as a collective group and myself. We smashed the market. We absolutely destroyed the market with our picks for 2024. So here's hoping your 2025 picks will also significantly outperform the market. And don't forget to put your picks in for this particular calendar year. I do prefer you to provide your picks in the video I did release on Friday, the 3rd of January. But to be honest with you, I will permit any of your picks on any channel in this video, or this channel, not this video, this channel. Okay, so look out for that particular 2024 stock pick results video, which I'll probably release either Sunday evening, 5th of January, or Monday morning, 6th of January. Haven't decided just yet. Okay, so let's get into technical update video. So we'll go through indices, then commodities. We'll have a look at Bitcoin and bonds, and Ethereum, currency. And I really want currency to go on a bit of a run. And then I haven't actually planned on showing any companies' charts. What I could do is I could go through some of my screeners. Unusual volume screener, even though this time of year you don't see much unusual volume unless it's significant. Or maybe I'll just go through my Buy Australia watch list to see if there's any companies that are popping up on my radar. Okay, so let's start off with the XJO. What I might do is just have a look at the weekly chart. And we had 3 3/4 days of trading during the week. So we're going back to more normal trading from tomorrow. However, I would expect volume to be still fairly low. It's not really until after probably Australia Day that we go back to normal trading. And to be honest with you, I do like the last few weeks of January because it is Appendix 4C reporting season. They're also reporting quarterly results in America. And I do like that time of year. So I do like this month. But the first few weeks tend to be quite slow, and then we build up to the last few weeks. Anyway, so I would assume fairly low volume on the XGO, but still there are people trading. And overall, last week was flat or slightly down. Yeah, down 0.14%. I do expect a good start to next week just because of what happened on Wall Street. And yeah, nothing out of the ordinary here, just down slightly. And we're right near the top of the trading channel. What else can you say? So that's just the weekly chart, daily chart. We had one bad day on, what's that? That bad day would have been, is that Tuesday? That would have been Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday, the last day of 2024. The XJO was down 0.92%. But a good start to 2025 so far. In fact, if you do look at the yearly chart or the 12-month chart, already 2025 is up 1.12%. So if we continue with this sort of performance, by the end of the year, we'll be up 500% or something like that. Ridiculous. Anyway, so don't expect this to continue every single day. Anyway, so that's the XJO. Everything's still looking good. No reason to panic, unlike Stephen Van Meter. I just saw his latest video how there's a new bank run or something. So he's always bearish. That's okay. XSO, small caps, and just like the XJO, XSO was fairly flat, down slightly 0.03%. And I would expect, if you have a look at the XSO daily chart, you have the big down day on Tuesday, and then the last 2 days were pretty good, and that's exactly what we've seen. If you do have a look at the daily chart, XSO, not as good as the XJO. I do actually like the weekly chart better for the XSO. This shows me that it's maybe slowly moving up, but I really want to see the XSO get above that sort of that double top. Maybe not sort of, that double top we did see back in October and December. So that would be about 3,240. So that's really all I want to talk about when it comes to the Australian indices. Now let's have a look at Wall Street. A really good end to the week. NASDAQ up 1.67%, Dow Jones 0.8%, and the Russell 2000 1.65%. That should translate to the Australian markets. Doesn't absolutely necessarily mean it will, but it should. So the NASDAQ, actually, if we'll go back to the weekly chart, NASDAQ up just because of Friday's session. In fact, it was only up 0. What? There, I've got to have a look at the right week. It was up, well, according to this, it was down. Yeah, oh, you know why? It's in green, so I always get a little bit, not confused, but whenever I see green, I just automatically think it was up. And when I see red, down, but it's not the way it works. It just looks at the start of the week compared to the end of the week. And if the end of the week is higher than the start of the week, then it's puts in a green candlestick. But the start of the week might be significantly lower than the end of last week. So that's why it can be down. The whole market can be down from last week, but still get a green candlestick. And that is what we see with NASDAQ. And if you have a look at the daily chart, yeah, there was a big gap down on Monday's session. So on Friday, the 27th of December, it closed at 24,000 or 21,473. But then the next day, it opened at 21,189.10. So even though overall the week was down compared to last week, the week finished higher than the start. And that's why we have a green weekly candlestick. Now, I do have this uptrend line that has been broken. In fact, it broke it on, it looks like the 30th of December. So that could be something negative. Maybe the uptrend, this sort of medium, or you might be able to say short-term uptrend in the NASDAQ has come to an end. But overall, still looking pretty good. You can't complain about this chart. This is the weekly chart. You can't complain about the weekly chart or the daily chart as well. And probably the other thing to mention is if you do have a look at the weekly chart, there is a nice tail, a bit of a shadow below the main body, which tells us there was a bit of buying during the week. In fact, you can see that buying happening on the last day of trading. In fact, I'm going to go back to maybe the 5-minute chart. Yeah, I was wondering when the buying started. It started on a Friday morning. So it says Saturday morning versus this chart, but this is local time, Brisbane time, and that's when the market opened. Saturday morning our time, but Friday morning their time. So that's when the buying started on Friday morning. Okay, let's go back to US indices, Dow Jones. I had been more bullish on Dow Jones up until recently. We have seen a little bit of a pullback over the past month and a bit since start of December, so that's about a month. So the Dow Jones did get to 45,000. This is the Dow Jones Industrial. Did get that down up to 45,000. Now it's down to 42,732. And we saw that really big down day on the 18th of December, down 2.58%. We saw a little bit of rally after that, but then it pulled back all the way back down. Now, it looks like there is a bit of support level at about 42,000, we'll say 400, between 42,300, 42,400. I'll put a line there. So it does look like there is a bit of support sort of in this level right there. We'll call it a zone. We did see lows sort of just below this zone back in November. So if we do see Dow Jones pull below this particular line and also the lows we saw back in November, that would be actually a fairly negative move. Maybe not fairly. That would be, we'll say, a slightly negative move. And maybe that would signify that Dow Jones is moving into a downtrend. But we're not there just yet. However, not a strong looking chart as we have seen in the past, but that's okay because I could have said the same thing. Yeah, I could have said the same thing back in April. It did pull back a little bit. We saw a little pullback in August. Remember the yen free carry trade, what they call it. It did pull back a fair bit and then recovered fairly quickly. So maybe that's what's happening here. A bit of a pullback and then we're going to see a recover. Russell 2000. This one is always of interest to me, how the small caps are performing. Really struggled to get above 2,440. You can see it got to the level twice and then pulled back. And this purple box is, we'll call it a support zone now. It was a resistance zone. Now it's support. It fell back into that zone in early December. Actually, this December 17, I believe, 18, fell. In fact, the Russell 2000 fell 4.4% in one day. So that was a pretty big sell-off, and it's just been going sideways since then within that box. So we have seen, I suppose, a way to say this, because it hasn't really moved up or down the bears and the bulls are fighting each other and no one's winning at this point in time. And to be honest with you, we don't know who's going to win in the end. Now, what we'll say is if the Russell 2000 moves above the purple box, that would mean the bulls are winning. If it falls below the purple box on strength, that would mean the bears are finally starting to win. We have seen the Russell 2000 go below the box on occasion, but doesn't stay below there for too long, which means there's a bit of buying coming in when it goes below that box. Otherwise, yeah, which way it's going to move, I don't know. Can't see the future, but I want to see, if I'm a bull, I want to see it moving up. And eventually, I want to see it get above 2,440. Eventually, it will. One day, it will, but it could be next week, could be a month, a year, 5 years from now, it could be 10 years from now. Eventually, it will get above 2,440 because that's the way equity markets work. They go up through time. It's an absolute truth. That's why I invest, or we invest in equity markets. If they didn't go up through time, then what's the point? Okay, so that's the American markets. Still looking okay. Nothing wrong with it. Again, nothing like Stephen Van Meter, who thinks we're going to see the biggest recession or depression maybe in history. But that's just the way he thinks. Okay, let's have a look at the international indices. We'll go back to weekly chart. Nikkei down a little bit. There was a bit of a breakout for the Nikkei last week, or a potential breakout. Actually, it wasn't last week. It looks like it happened. According to this, Nikkei has not been trading recently. That's the weekly chart, daily chart. Has the Nikkei, I don't think the Nikkei's been closed. It says the last trading day was the 30th of December. And before that, the 27th. I don't know. Maybe it's broken. Anyway, so it looks like there was a potential breakout on the 27th. I'm just going to put another Nikkei in here just to see what's happening. No, I can't be bothered. What about the Hang Seng? Just making sure this is updated. Yeah, this is updated. Hang Seng, I'm not enthusiastic about the Hang Seng right now. Remember that stimulus news back in September? That's why the Hang Seng went on a big run. It has pulled back a fair bit since then. I don't see any confident trend right now. I'm not confident about the way Hang Seng is moving. Doesn't mean I think it's going to move down, but I don't think I have no confidence that's going to move down. I have no confidence it's going to move up from here. And again, I think a lot of the Hang Seng movement moving forward could be based off any sort of Chinese news, economic news, any news from the government, that sort of thing. So neither bullish or bearish when it comes to the Hang Seng. DAX, again, a bit of a disconnect between the DAX, the German index, and also the German economy. So there is a belief that, we may not a belief, but there is this thought that there is a link between the two. Not always. I think a lot of times there is, but not always. And this is a perfect example. A German economy is weak, it's sick, but the DAX is not. The DAX is in a beautiful uptrend. It's been a beautiful uptrend since late last year. A little bit of weakness during the yen carry trade, but it still is moving up. We've seen a little bit of pullback the last few weeks, but that's okay. We always see that sort of pullback, but the uptrend is in no threat of ending just yet. And during the week, DAX was up or down. This is another one of those instances where it's sort of like a doji, but down slightly for the week. Because of the Nikkei, I'm just going to make sure all these are up to date. Yes. If you know anything about the Nikkei, why TradingView is not updating, I'm just going to say Nikkei closed. Yeah, it says Nikkei 225, 30th December. Closed January 2. Here we go, market holidays. According to this, oh yeah, they closed New Year's Day, 2nd of January. Well, this is 2024. So I want to see if they closed, closed New Year's Eve as well. And they closed January the 1st, January the 2nd, January the 3rd. There you go. What a 4 days off in a row. Go Japan. So that makes sense. The last time Nikkei was open was December 30. I did not know that. Well, there you go. We learn something new every single day. Okay, on to the FTSE. Potentially the most boring chart of all. Now, in saying that, when you do see something going sideways, trading in a range, it makes it easy because what you're waiting for here is a breakout above the top of the range or below the bottom of the range, and it makes your life easy. At this point in time, there's no reason to get excited about the FTSE or any company trading in a range unless you want to buy at the bottom and then sell at the top. And that's what's happening with FTSE right now. It's been going sideways. In fact, it's been going sideways since about April. And right now, it's sort of in the middle of the range. So it bounced off the bottom not that long ago, the 20th of December. And what can you say about the FTSE right now? It's got a case of athlete's foot, the FTSE. Anyway, that's all I really got when it comes to the indices around the world. What is your favorite index? Well, based off the chart, my favorite probably would be the NASDAQ right now. Now on to commodities. I have no favorite commodities. I'm trying to think if there's any really good commodity, if I like any chart. I can't think of one right now, but we'll always start off with gold. I do know there's a lot of gold bugs out there. I'm neither a gold bug nor the opposite of a gold bug, which would be a gold bear. So there's bugs. So we have bulls and bears, but for gold we have bugs and slugs. So I'm not a gold slug. I just don't know. It could go higher. I think over time it will go higher. Unlike, I can't say the same thing about oil, but over time I think gold will go higher. And it is struggling right now. We're not seeing, even though if you do look at the chart here, it's still in an uptrend, but I suppose there is indications that maybe the uptrend is coming to an end. Now, you could have said this back between April and June last year. Gold was going sideways. In fact, I put these two dashed lines suggesting I thought at that point in time it was in a consolidation phase, but that didn't last very long. And then it maintained or moved back into its uptrend in late July, early August. This is not like that. It's a little bit different. We're not seeing it trading in a range. Gold got to a high back in late October, and it's really struggled to get back up to those levels. But on the flip side, we saw it get to a low in November, and it's really struggled to get to those lows as well. So you probably could actually say this is, you put a line there, and then you put also another line there. This is some sort of pattern. Some sort of triangle, I think. Triangle pattern. So trading, we'll say trading. I'm just going to go to images. Symmetrical triangle, maybe. Symmetrical triangle. Let's do that. Symmetrical triangle. What is a symmetrical triangle pattern? Characterized by two converging trend lines connecting us. I wonder if it's a asymmetrical triangle pattern bullish. Neither bullish nor bearish. And a breakout can happen in either direction. That's according to Investopedia. Is a symmetrical triangle pattern accurate? I'm not sure what they mean. Suggests an imminent price breakout that may lead to a significant price movement. Does not predict the direction of the breakout. There you go. That sort of makes sense. Just don't know which way it's going to go. And I would actually say, yeah, I don't know which way it's going to go. That's compared to some of the other triangles, which are actually bearish or bullish, depending what they are. So this is a more symmetrical triangle. So it's getting close where the two lines actually meet. So there will be break at that point. Will it go lower or will it go higher? Now, that's just based off this pattern that I just saw just on the spot right now. And other than that, I'm neither bullish or bullish about gold. I have no idea about the future, just no idea. And that's probably one of the reasons why I don't have high conviction about any position I take. I just don't know the future. The future is just too hard. I can surmise what might happen, but a lot of my surmisations are going to be wrong. Now, when it comes to silver, this is a little bit more negative. In fact, we do have a breakout, not a breakout, we do have a crossover in the moving averages, which is a negative crossover. And also the price of silver has fallen below the uptrend line. And it fell below that a few weeks ago. But yeah, definitely not looking nowhere near as bullish as it has been, for the most of 2024, in fact. In fact, there was a nice break in silver back in March. Yeah. Anyway, so looking a little bit more negative for silver. I don't have any silver companies right now on my portfolio. I have one gold company, and that probably also suggests that I'm neither bullish nor bearish, but I do want to limit the amount of mining companies I do own. Copper, I'm probably negative copper, but in saying that, the price of copper is right at a portal level, which is $4. We saw copper try to get below $4 back in August, and then it rallied, really nice rally. It bounced off $4 back in November. The rally wasn't as good, and now it's right on $4. So that is an important level for copper, and we've seen that over the last year. I don't know which way it's going to go, but maybe you could surmise or argue that it's at a support level and the next movement will be up for copper. I do have still one copper company, that's Hillgrove Resources, and I am wanting to sell that position eventually, unless copper moves into a really nice uptrend. Okay, so that's a few indices. Let's have a look at iron ore. I can't remember iron ore. I think I'm negative. Yeah, I'm still negative with iron ore. If anything, there is a downtrend here. If anything, there is a downtrend. So even though I do think it's more downtrendish than anything else, you could also say it's more going sideways. So maybe if you have a look at the weekly chart, if anything, it's been going sideways, and it's been going sideways for about 5 years. So iron ore got above $80 back in early 2019, and $80 is a support level for iron ore. That's an absolute truth. We can see iron ore has tested $80 numerous times over the past 5 years. The most recent was in October 2022. Hasn't been there since, but it rallies off 80. So if it gets to 80, I'd probably be a little bit more bullish at that point in time. And I do have a few positions I would buy into. Fenix is one of them, FEX, if I do see it get to $80. If it gets to 80, doesn't mean it will, but if. But other than that, I have no opinion about iron ore right now. Uranium had a good week. In fact, uranium, because of that mine, that Canadian company mine in Kazakhstan, some government problems, they had to shut down production or something. Uranium had a pretty good rally. In fact, the spot physical uranium up 9.27%. Does that mean the chart looks pretty good? No, not necessarily. So a nice little run, but it has bounced off a support level at 23. Yeah, that's a pretty nice support level. But that does not mean uranium is going to go on a run. I do know a lot of people who are really bullish about uranium, and I understand their arguments. But just because you've got arguments doesn't mean it's going to play out like that. That's my problem. You're still predicting the future, and even though you think something's going to play out the way it's going to play, even if you think something's going to play out some sort of way, doesn't mean it will, because the future is hard to forecast or predict. Anyway, so uranium, just the chart itself is saying, not me yet. But this is definitely one where if I do see the uptrend, I might want to take a position in a few uranium companies, because I do understand there is a bullish case, and a fairly strong bullish case for uranium. But again, as I mentioned, just because we have a bullish case doesn't mean that's going to come to fruition. Oil's had a good end to the week. In fact, a good week. I actually had a look at oil and this is a nice move. I do have one oil company, and I'm looking at Beach Petroleum. I'll show you Beach chart, I suppose, in a second. In fact, I might show Beach chart where we get to the individual companies. No, I'll show it now. A nice run, not sure what's happening, 5 good days in a row. In fact, the week for oil was pretty good, up 5.46%. But when you look at the weekly chart, you don't get any nice fuzzy feelings about this at all. And that's all I'm saying. No nice fuzzy feelings with the weekly chart. A daily chart, maybe. Now, when saying that, the last time the price of oil was at $74 was only October. So we're not talking about a 6-month high, a year high. We're talking about a 3-month high. And Beach Petroleum is the one I do have interest in. And the only reason I do have interest in this chart, Beach Energy, Petroleum, is because the chart actually does look pretty good. I like this chart for Beach Energy. Probably my only problem is the amount of upside for this company. Share price of Beach Energy really hasn't done anything for 5 years. Now, just prior to COVID-19, share price of Beach did get up to about $290. That would be double from where it is now. Is that the potential upside? But you can just have a look at this chart. The Beach Energy share price has really struggled over the last 4 years to get above $2. We'll say $1.90. It's really struggled to get above there. So that is a really interesting resistance level for Beach Energy. Okay, back to commodities. We can have or look at gas. Let's have a look at gas. E-mini natural gas futures. not a bad looking daily chart. It's like the first time I've looked at this for a while. It's not a bad looking chart. In fact, if I saw this chart for any company, I'd be going, it's pretty good. It's looking pretty good. So in fact, natural gas looks nice. Look at the volume coming in the last week or so. Some big volume coming in. Lithium, up 6.84% on the last day. For the week, lithium was up 7.18%. So is this the start? Is this signifying the bottom? Not sure I'm there just yet. So if you do look at the daily chart, at least we've got the candle, the moving averages here. So if you were your lithium, maybe not lithium bull, if you're just trading lithium, the get out signal was actually back in early 2023. And we don't have a buy signal just yet, but it could be getting close. Could be getting close for lithium. And this is actually the commodity I'm interested in, lithium, because we have seen a long-term downtrend and possibly we are near the bottom of the cycle. So I'm paying way more attention to lithium and lithium companies. What about coal? Coal is an interesting one because there's been a few times in the past, year where I thought maybe coal is starting to break out. And you can definitely see coal has been going sideways for maybe 2 years. We'll say 18 months, has been going sideways. It's been trading in a range between $120 and $155 for at least a year. And this is another one where it could go higher or lower, depending on the future. And what the future holds for coal, no idea. What about some other commodities? What about tin? Tin, no interest in at this point. Nickel, I would say nickel's going down. In fact, we have to look at the weekly chart here. And yeah, weekly chart doesn't look good. Daily chart does not look good either. Just look at the moving averages here. Still, although you could say maybe nickel is at the bottom. It is near the bottom, historical bottom. So maybe it's near the bottom. And finally, palladium. Have a look at the daily chart. I don't own any palladium companies. At this point in time, 860 is a significant level for this company. That's a support level. And it's sort of trying to move to that point. There was a false breakout back in October. And look what happened just after that false breakout. It just collapsed. Sometimes my lines aren't straight. That's definitely not a straight line. Okay. And finally, cocoa. I'm pretty sure cocoa's pulled back. Oh, it did pull back and now it's gone up again. A bit of volatility in cocoa. Okay, that's all I got for the commodities. If you want me to show any other commodity charts, just leave a mention in the comment section of this video and I'll see what I'm able to do. Now, I do have some other watch lists in here. What's a watch list I could show you? Futures and Forex. So we have stuff like corn, rice, oat. We also have cattle, live cattle, pork. We also have cocoa, which I already showed you, cotton, coffee. Nah, I'm not a coffee drinker. Lumber. What's RC? Robusta coffee futures. SB would be sugar. And then a lot of other ones here. And a lot of currencies as well. Okay, let's go back to Bitcoin and bonds. So Bitcoin is moving back towards $100,000. So we have seen a nice little rally in Bitcoin during the week. In fact, Bitcoin's probably up a fair bit, up 4.97% for the week. Still just below $100,000, and $100,000 is a significant level because it's a round number. And I saw plenty of tweets, people talking about how they're going to sell Bitcoin at $100,000 well before it got to that level because it's a round number. If you had a target, you wouldn't say, if it gets to 97,650, I'm going to sell. No, people just think of round numbers. $100,000, I'm going to sell. And I don't blame them, but I don't think like that because I know that's a round number. So I thought maybe when it got above $100,000 in middle of December, maybe that was a good sign. But then it fell below $100,000 fairly quickly. And you can actually see there is a bit of strength when it gets to about 92,000. We do see a little bit of buying, and then we saw a bounce off. A lot of buying since December. So Bitcoin wants to get above $100,000, and I think eventually it will. Eventually it will, but again, as I said with something else today, it'll get above it tomorrow, next week, next month. 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 5 years from now, maybe not that long, but I think eventually it will get above $100,000 and stay above $100,000. Ethereum, another nice little bounce for this one. I'd say it's up by more than 5%. 9.29%. Good day for Ethereum. This is one where I'm looking for it to break above 4,000. Again, a round number. Probably not as strong as 10,000, 100,000, 10,000, 1,000, 101. People love ones. Ones. 4,000. And you can just see it. It's had a problem getting above 4,000. It's hit it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in the past and has struggled. This is during 2024. It struggled 5 times during that year. Okay, that's all I really want to talk about when it comes to Bitcoin and Ethereum. What about bonds? US 30-year bonds. This has been ripping higher, and it has found a little bit of a resistance area. I think I mentioned this. That was the old highs we saw back in April 2024. You can just see it struggling, get above that level. Went on a really nice run, got to that level, and it's been going sideways ever since. And it's just whenever it gets above, we see a little bit of weakness and moves below. But right now, it's right on that level at 4.815%. So interesting move with bonds over the last few years. Not years, months. Not years, months. And one of the reasons why our currency is down is because the bond yields have been rising. So the higher chance of higher interest rates in America, and that means people want to put their money into American assets, maybe like cash, because they get a better return. That's probably the best way to think about it. If you had $1 billion and you just wanted to put it in cash, where would you put your money? You wouldn't put your money into a country which has interest rates of 1% or below that. You'll put your money into a country that has higher interest rates because you get more bang for your buck. Hence why. And then you move your currency up from that currency into the currency that has high interest rates. That's why if you see bond yields rising compared to the rest of the world, you'll see the currency of that particular currency also being fairly strong, which is what we're seeing in America. It's really strong right now. In fact, I did see a tweet, I think, how the American currency or the US dollar is the most overvalued it's been for a long time. I'm not sure how they figured that out, but because of the run in American currency, because of this, it's overvalued. I'm not sure how they figured that out. On the flip side, the TLT or any ETF or bond ETFs are going in the wrong direction. It's going the opposite direction. That's the TLT, the 20-plus year Treasury bond ETF. So when you think bond yields are at its peak, that's when you get interested in this sort of ETF. Not completely, they are the mirror of each other. And currency, look at that. Australian dollar just collapsed. And there is a relationship between this and the bond yields in America. There is a relationship between the two. Okay, I do have a lot of individual companies charts here, but I'm not going to show you those. So what I'll do is, that was from last week's video, which I did show you Beach Energy, by the way. Let's have a look at some scanners. So I've got unusual volume. We could look at the 200-day moving average cross. I don't think there's going to be anything interesting here. The Lorry Corporation looks like it's crossing soon, but I'd just say the share price is going sideways. We're going to see multiple crosses, and we already see multiple crosses in 2024. So not interested in that one. Aurora, this is an interesting one if you're holding it right now. Oh, it's not this one. It was another one. What was the interesting one? I think it was there was another interesting one. Anyway, this is not applicable because, again, we've had a couple of crosses recently, which tells us it's going sideways. It's consolidating. You're moving sideways. There's no trend with Aurora. There was another one. It's not in this list, but there was something I looked at probably yesterday, and I went, oh, this looks pretty negative. Oh, it was Orica. That's why I was confused. Orica is O-R-I. Aurora is O-R-A. Orica. Yeah, this one looks negative. And there was a crossover a few weeks ago. Yeah, this one looks definitely negative. I wouldn't be trading this right now. Okay, so not actually a lot. Only 19 matches for a crossover. Let's have a look at an unusual volume. 5 times unusual volume. Only 31 matches, which sort of makes sense because you don't see heightened volume this time of year. So maybe 3 times unusual volume might be enough. You have 78 matches there. So let's have a look at some of these companies in this particular list. Not all of them, just some of them. We have actually Hello World. This one did pop up on my radar. Yeah, it definitely popped up on my radar. Hello world, not sure what caused a little bit of rally on Friday, up 4.93%. But this chart is starting to look interesting. One thing I'd like to see is a bit of a crossover between the moving averages. But the last time the share price was this high was in August. We're talking about a 4-month high in the share price. I do prefer a 6-month high, but it does look interesting. And it did get above these highs back in November, December. So there was a little bit of resistance level right there. I'll just put a line there. There was a bit of resistance right there. Not sure how strong. And it's just gone above that on strength. And the reason I say on strength, higher volume is strength. So when you say high volume, that's on strength. So something happened with Hello World. Don't know what it is, but this chart does look interesting. Imogen, which was one of your 2024 stock picks. And all the chart has not had a good year. High volume here. Am I interested in this one? No. Share price didn't do much. That's the other thing I should just mention. A lot of times when I go through the unusual volume, I also have a look at the share price change. And if I don't see much of a change, it could be on nothing. For instance, Pack Group, I probably would have ignored this when I went through this particular checklist or this screener because, yeah, there's no significant change in share price and chart is not doing anything. One I will have a look at is Amero International 3DA. So pretty good volume coming in, and the share price did change 16.7%. For some reason, the technical rating in TradingView is buy. I would not say that. I will not call this a buy. Bisalloy Steel, well, it went ex-dividend. We already know that, but doesn't absolutely explain why the share price dropped 12.95%. The dividend was significantly lower than the share price change. Cyclopharm, am I interested in this? So share price hasn't moved all that much. Share price sort of going sideways. We did get a moving average crossover. This does show possible signs of trying to move into an uptrend. And now you can't see the volume today because this company has a lot of peaks in volume. So I'm not sure. You have to really zoom in to see how much volume there was. Yeah, slightly higher volume than what we saw the previous 2 weeks. But we didn't see much share price action. But sometimes volume precedes share price action. So this chart actually does look more interesting to me than what it has been previously. I might put this into one of my watch lists. There you go. American Rare Earths. Yeah, I don't know about this one. Yeah, no interest. Close the Loop, no interest. Globe International, share price down 6.9%. I probably wouldn't pay attention to this one because it was on a share price down. So one of the filters I could do is unusual volume and the share price up. So I could put that filter in, but I did have that filter, and then I just wanted to see any negative moves. So that's one of the things I also am looking for, negative moves. So would you say this is a negative move? Not absolutely just yet, but doesn't look good. Orion Minerals. Don't know much about this company. No interest in the chart. Experience Co. Yeah, no interest in that chart. Beacon Minerals, no interest. Is anything else of interest here? So let's have a look at Rimfire. Yeah, I don't have interest there. You can see the volume. So it was higher than what we've seen in the last few weeks, but look at the volume, what we saw on Friday compared to the massive volume we saw in September, October. So volume well short of that. But this could be the first signs of a little bit more interest in this company. So this could be the first sort of first day. And maybe the next few days, we're going to see heightened volume as the share price starts to go up again. So that's definitely a possibility here with Rimfire Pacific. Petronas Resources, maybe the Harry Potter fan, Petronius. What's that? Was that Patronus? Yeah, I don't know. Those things in the air. Am I interested in this? Not necessarily Patronus, but I mean, it does look like it's bounced off a support level. Nice volume coming through. Nah, no interest. VHM. Yeah, no interest in that one. It's on low. It's on not low volume. It's on share price down. Horizon Gold. Oh, this is interesting. So Horizon Gold looks pretty good. Share price is in an uptrend. Share price has gone up probably about 80% since the breakout in September. Looks like fairly low volume most of 2024, and we're starting to see volume pick up. So not a bad looking chart, Horizon Gold. Energy Transition Minerals. This is a company I've never heard of before. And yeah, there you go. This is exactly what I'm looking for. So the share price has really taken off. There was a crossover. So this would have probably came onto my crossover, but I probably would have went, nah, nothing much when it crossed over. We are not seeing increasing volume, but there was a crossover. But then we've seen the share price just take off and really big volume coming on Friday. That's pretty big volume. We did see share price pull back, however, during the day. Share price did get as high as 5.4 cents, and we saw a bit of selling, which is probably understandable. If we go back through time, there would be a lot of shareholders who bought at higher prices, and they're seeing the opportunity set out. But definitely the trend has changed with energy transition. Elixir Energy. Now we're getting to small companies. Yeah, I have no interest in that. Mithril, silver, and gold. Share price rallied back in September. Share price has been pulling lower, trending lower, and volume has been trending low as well. We did see a little bit of increase in volume on the 11th of 12th of December, when the share price did go on a 3-day run, but then that volume dried up. And we've just seen another increase in volume on Friday. I can actually see the share price actually moving up from here. I think this is enough little signals that the bottom has been reached. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the share price of Mithril, silver, and gold running higher from here. I'll put this on my watch list as well. What else? Curve beam. Yeah, I definitely could see a bit of an argument because the share price to get above the previous high. So I could definitely see this starting to move into an uptrend. I'm not sure if I'm there just yet. Some good volume coming in as well, but I'm not there just yet. Emerson Resources, I'm pretty sure this is a gold explorer. And this is actually a pretty good looking chart. Yeah, pretty good looking chart. The first sort of sign was some big volume coming in June. But again, we saw a little bit of selling coming in after that. The volume dried up. And then we saw some volume coming in again in November. And then we've seen some big volume spikes. So this is actually a nice looking chart for Emerson Resources. And I'm going to end it there. Some other companies here, but we're getting to the small companies, the really small companies. Straker, which did pop up, but no, this one was looking interesting, but this volume, the share price did not move. And anything else here? No. Okay, I'm going to end the video at this point in time. If you have any questions, any thoughts, leave those in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I'm not a financial advisor. If you need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.